Hey, my name's Mark. I have a Mercury 125 2004 model. I'm by no means a mechanic. I did some routine maintenance on this motor and it turned out to be pretty simple. I just wanted to share with you after the fact some of the things I ran into and some of the things I did. First thing I did was replace the plugs, the fuel line and filter, the lower unit fluid, and the impeller. And I'm going to talk to you about my next project, which is replacing the attenuator plate that I found had a crack in it. So I'll talk you through that stuff real quick. I already did the maintenance, but I just wanted to let you know that it's pretty simple by watching some of these YouTube videos, and I didn't have any problems, and the process of ordering the parts online was pretty simple as well. Okay, here's my motor with the cover off. The first thing I did, of course, was replace the plugs, and this was really easy. This was the easiest task. I think any mechanic could do it with their eyes closed. I was just careful in doing it, making sure you take pictures of everything you do on the motor. That way you know how it goes back together. But back here on the plugs, basically check the cables. They looked good, so I didn't have to order new cables. I just made sure I got the correct size spark plugs, made sure they were gapped correctly, took the old ones out and put them in, and tightened them, hand tight and then a quarter turn, so I didn't over tighten them. So that was easy. Alright, the next thing I did was the fuel line and fuel filter. One of the fuel lines and filter hadn't been replaced in a long time. It's back here, of course. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know the names of all these parts. I'm just pointing at. The thing I had to do to get at it easily was remove this bolt down here on the... Sorry, diesel douche. Anyways, removed that screw right there, pulled it away, and was able to get at the fuel line and clip a couple ties, pull the old one off. I ordered the new one, made sure it was the proper size, proper hose size, and put that back in, cinched it back up with the zip ties, made sure it was not in the way of the arm here. It looked like my old fuel line was getting rubbed on, and it probably would have wore a hole in it. So I made sure it was out of the way of all the mechanisms in there. Replaced the bolt, replaced that up there, and everything. A little harder than the plugs, but nothing you can't do with a little patience. Okay, next thing I did down here at the lower unit, this was easy, was replace the lower unit fluid. I got one of these here drain pans. Got a plug down here with a standard flathead screwdriver. Make sure it's the proper size and that you don't strip it out, because you'll run into a problem, of course, if you do that. Put the pan under there, let the fluid drain out. You release a vent screw up here to allow for the fluid to come out, and then you buy this little pump and you put it on the bottle, and you basically just put the hose in there and you pump the fluid into there until it comes out of the drain hole. Then you put your the vent hole. Now you put your vent plug back in, and then you remove the hose and quickly put the bolt back up, or the screw plug back in there, and that again was really easy to do. So not a problem. Next thing I did here on the lower unit was replace the impeller water pump. This was one of the more extensive jobs, but it was pretty simple. I did run into a little issue, but I'll talk through it. Basically, there's four bolts here, or two on this side and two on the other side, that hold the lower unit on, and then also one up under here that I had to undo. So 5 total bolts. Tilted the motor up and carefully pulled the lower unit off. You may want help. I was able to do it myself, but have somebody so it doesn't fall on the ground after you take that last bolt out. One of the problems I had was these were seized on here really good. As I was wrenching them off, the threads on the inside of the nut actually ripped off, and they were spinning in one place, so I had to work on them quite a bit. and order new nuts to put on these posts here. But that took a little longer than it should have, since these were stripped out. But the good thing is the posts weren't stripped, just the insides of the nuts were. So pulled that off, put the new impeller on, replaced some gaskets around the housing of the impeller, and made sure I lubed everything up good and put it back just the way I pulled it out. And the biggest issue, like I said, was those 4 nuts being stripped. But ordered all the proper parts offline, proper gaskets, and that wasn't too bad either. Okay, and lastly, one of the things I found when I was inspecting the motor was when I pulled the air cover off here on the carburetors here, there's an attenuator plate that they're all bolted into. And as you can see, I found a pretty big crack in the attenuator plate. I guess it's plastic. Might have happened from these bolts holding the carbs in place. Maybe it was tightened too tight. So when I first saw that, I panicked. I was like, uh-oh. But I was able to get online and look. This attenuator plate here is actually brand new. It's $140, or anywhere from $140 to $175. I looked around online and I found a place that had it used for $40. So I got the exact part here for $40 used. I'd inspected it when it came in. There's no cracks in it. Looks a little older, and that's going to be my next project. Looks to be undo 2 bolts on each carburetor, a couple screws up here by the oil cap, and a linkage down here that holds that linkage in place. You just pop that away and then it should come right off. I'm going to wait a little bit until I order the gaskets. I noticed there's a couple gaskets on the piston, I'm sorry, the carburetor. So I'm going to wait till I get those in before I actually pull it off. But I'll let you know how that turns out. Hopefully I don't run into anything. But anyways, just wanted to walk you through some of the things I did. Probably saved about $400 in labor fees. Up the road I asked one of the mechanics how much it would cost to do, and he told me about $450. So I paid about $80 for all the parts, and I did it mostly myself. So that last attenuator plate there that I'm going to do sometime next week, I'll let you know how that turns out. Well, hope you don't have any issues. Like I said, the big thing is take pictures of the stuff before you pull it apart if you don't know what you're doing. And I always had it in the back of my mind that if I pull something apart that I can put back together, I was going to end up visiting the mechanic anyway, but it was worth the time, and it was actually kind of fun. Thanks. Oh yeah, and when you pull this stuff off here, go in the house, make sure you wash your hands before you get on your wife's computer. She gets mad if you get on there with a little bit of grease on your hands.